Hey guys, Mixed Media Girl here. This is my adorable kitten. So, I'm still working on getting you guys more activities you can do from home, more art that you can do. So here's the next paint night. This is a full paint night. Have fun with it. You can, pause the video as needed. You can go back as needed. You can switch out the materials as needed. If you want different colors, have fun with it. It's yours to create on. Hope you enjoy this, and here we go. Hey guys, welcome to The Painter in You. I'm Marcy, aka Mixed Media Girl. Today we're going to be painting this winter scene, which I love. And this is a 16 by 20 canvas, but you can use any size canvas you want. I get these at Michael's in either the 5 or the 20 pack. Is pretty cost effective. We're going to be using 3 brushes, a foam brush for the background, a medium flat brush, and a little detail liner brush, okay? You don't have to use a foam brush. You can use just like a 1-inch brush or even a 1/2 inch regular brush. I just find that the foam brushes make it really easy to blend with. And this background particularly, the foam brush makes it really easy to blend. So we're gonna be doing a lot of blending. One key thing to keep in mind when doing this blending is we wanna use the brush flat. Okay, you don't wanna use the edge ever or the sides. You wanna use it flat. We're gonna be doing a lot of padding, right? Good arm workout. All right, so let's get started. And then we're just using craft paint. So any acrylic paint will work, whatever you have. This is just Craft Smart from Michael's, but any acrylic paint will work. We're using blue, white, purple, and black. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So to start with, we're going to cover the background with a light blue. So I go ahead and put white and blue on here and make it to the lightness that I desire. I'm going for something around that lightness. So we're just going to cover the whole background with this, the whole thing. All right, so now we have the background covered. Don't worry too much about getting the bottom perfectly because we are going to be covering it with black. So it's not the end of the world. We just want kind of a light blue. And if you have a light blue, you can do that instead of doing blue and white. Either way. All right, so next we're going to put our line here for the moon. And in this case, it's better to go maybe a little bigger than you think you're going to need to, because you can make it smaller. You can't make it bigger in this case. So we're just going to give a big circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that was with the medium flat brush. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to work around this circle, leaving this circle intact. So to start with, we're going to take our foam brush and some blue, and we're going to go ahead and pat. Patting gives you this kind of cloudy texture, which is obviously different than this, which gives you more of a streak texture. So we pat, and we're going to do this in sections. So we're going to just go around and kind of do little blue clouds all around this. Go ahead and do that step. Just to warn you, this is an arm workout. Don't forget your corners. Okay, so at this point we have pretty much patchy blue all around. And we're going to now go ahead and do the same thing with the next color, which is purple, except this time we're going to go in between and overlapping our blue. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do this part, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a close-up on that. So you can see we're kind of blending them together, but not perfectly. Oops. My bad. And then you touch it with your finger. No. So you can still see the blue, but then you have the purple, and then they kind of blend together. So we're going to do that now, going in here with purple and filling in a lot of the rest of this space. And obviously this is your painting. You can make it however you want. If you want less purple, more blue, go for it. If you want more purple, less blue, go for it. You're also totally allowed to go back and forth. So if you want, you can go back with your blue at any point in time and put more blue in there. See how I just did that? Yeah. So keep going along that line, putting in your purple in here until the rest is mostly filled in. Once again, you don't have to perfectly cover the bottom, but you do want to go down lower than you think you need to. Okay, at this point, this is a lot of purple. I'm going to go back in here with a little more blue. So at this point, I'm going to go back in here with some more blue, and I'm going to fill in the rest, doing the same thing, overlapping my purple here and blending them together gently here. Okay, good. So we're more or less filled in at this point. Remember, we're still avoiding this area, which is fine. So now we're going to go in here with a little bit of white, and we're going to put some lighter areas in here, which will also further help the blending process. So go ahead in wherever you would like and blend in your white. Keep in mind, this is all the same brush. We haven't washed it or done anything with it. We're just continuing to use it. All right, let's see. add as much white as you want until you're happy with it. I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave that. We have one last step on the background, which is to add a little bit of black. Now, mind you, if you have a lot of paint in your brush, now is a good time to wipe it off on just a napkin or something. Or if you're using not a foam brush, you can go ahead and wash it out. But we're going to go ahead and use some black. And you want to go very sparing with the black. A little black goes a long way. So I like to do kind of closer to the edges with black. See how I did kind of all around the edges there? So we're going to do kind of around the edges. Okay, so once again, as much or as little as you want with the black, I just recommend going very sparingly with it. And then next we're going to go ahead and get started around the moon. So with that, at this point, you're going to go back to your medium flat brush and you're going to perfect this circle as much as possible and make it to the size that you want. If you want to keep it really big, you totally can, or you can make it smaller. You just want to go slowly and try to make as perfect of a circle as you can. And if you have any circular object you want to put in here and cheat, no one will know because we can't see you. I don't have one. So I'm going to do my best. All right, that looks pretty good. She says as she continues. Okay, so next we go back to our foam brush. And you shouldn't need to add much more paint to it, but you're gonna go around here. Once again, we're gonna just pat this. Just be careful not to get inside your circle. And we're just going to pull that out. I don't recommend doing like a perfect circle, so see how this is kind of fuzzy around there? So we want it to be not perfect, but it has like this black haze around it. And you'll bring it out maybe about an inch and a half all the way around. And just as a trick, it can be easier to flip your canvas around if you need to. I'm going to do that for this side. voila, we have finished our background. Now we're going to let this dry. I'd say give it about maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so to dry, depending on what paint you're using. This paint dries really fast. So we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to go ahead and get started on the ground and the tree. Okay, so we're back. This is not 100% dry, but it's definitely dry enough. So we're going to go ahead and work on our ground. One thing, I'm going to actually demonstrate. When you tell people to do mountains, I've noticed that they tend to do one of two things, okay? Either they do this, or they do this. All right, these are waves, these are shark teeth. Neither are mountains, okay? So we want something that's actually kind of a combo of both of these. And this is not a mountain, it's just the ground, but the same thing applies. We're gonna take our medium flat brush, and you're gonna basically just kind of make a ragged, jagged ground here that has some lows and some higher highs. Start smaller, you can have it come up higher as you go, okay? So just make a line that you're generally happy with, and then if you want, you can fill it in with that same brush, or if you want to go a lot faster, you just fill it in with your foam brush. That's what I do. So we're just going to fill this in, and as you fill it in, you can adjust it if you'd like. Make it go higher or whatnot. Someone put wet blue paint down here. Oh, who that was. Okay, so we have our ground here. If you want to come back later and put yet another layer of black on it, you can. And also, if you want to do it with the patting method as well, you can do that. So now we're going to get on to our focal point, which is the tree. And you can make this as ragged, jagged, crooked, whatnot as you want. My key tip on the tree is start small. You can make it bigger, you can't make it smaller. So once again, I've seen people start their trunk like this. You don't want to do that, okay? Because that's making it so you have to have a trunk of at least this big. Then if it's too big, it's too big, and you can't do anything about it. So we start with a line. So basically in between your moon and the end of your canvas here, we're going to go ahead and make just a line. And it should go up to, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 inches at least from the top of your canvas there. So we start with just a line. You're going to then slowly make this a little bit bigger. And I mean go really slowly, okay? And you're not going for perfectly straight. It's better if it's a little jagged. But that's pretty much going to be your trunk more or less, and you can make it a little bit thicker as you go. All right, then we're going to get on to some of the bigger branches. By bigger branches, I mean these big guys, okay? And you can do that with the same brush. I like to have one that kind of goes over into the moon there. And we're going to have a couple more come out. You can always add more branches later. You can't take any away. So maybe start with 3 bigger ones. And you're going to make it a little larger, a little wider towards the trunk of the tree. And then it's going to thin out. You want to do that with all of your branches, even the little baby ones. Okay, so now we've got our trunk and our big branches. This can be adjusted as we go. But we're going to go ahead and go over to the little detail brush, and we'll start getting in some of the smaller branches. Okay, so first let's go ahead and end off our bigger ones. So now that we have a thinner brush, we can give it a thinner end. We'll do that with all of these. It's the first thing I like to do. Then we have big, medium, and small. All right, so let's go ahead and add in some medium ones. So the medium ones are obviously just a little smaller than those big ones. So one other point on the branches is if you're having trouble getting a nice smooth line, you can use a little bit of water or water down your paint a little bit, and that can help give you a smoother line. I also like to use my finger to steady my hand on the canvas. So we're going to just add in some of these more medium-sized branches. All right, so we've got some medium branches, and then we're going to go ahead and add in some small branches. Don't worry, we can always add more branches. You can't take any away. So one of the easiest ways to end off a branch is in a V. So let's take this one for instance. We have just a line right here right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add another one that makes it into a V. So that branch now kind of has an end. You don't have to do that on all of them, but it's definitely an easy way to end off a branch. Go ahead and do that there. We'll do one over here. This one will give an even littler V. I'm going to add in another branch here. And there you go. Long story short, you're going to just keep doing that until you are happy with how it is filled in. One word of warning though, there is something called endless branch syndrome. You can keep adding branches until the end of time. So at some point, stop, take a step back and look at it from a distance. Then you can see if there's any spots missing, but otherwise just, end off at some point. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll keep going on with our branches. All right, so at this point, I'm happy with it. Like I said, I could go all night, but I think that's good. And that is essentially our painting. You can do other things if you want, like you could add another tree, you can add some grass or some smaller trees, you could add some birds, really whatever you want to do, make it your own creation. The other thing is at this point, I go ahead and take my foam brush and I like to paint the edges of my canvas. This is because I'm not planning on framing this. So I feel like painting the edges kind of frames it for me. And I do that with black. Go ahead and just do that. Don't forget the bottom of your canvas. Ooh, careful. Blend that right in. other thing is don't forget to sign your painting. So you can do your initials, you can do the date, you can do anything you want. I just do my initials in the lower left-hand corner generally. My sister-in-law likes to sign it in weird places. Totally your prerogative. And that, my friends, is your winter night painting. So I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.